The Tokyo Olympics may be coming towards their conclusion this weekend, but there's still lots of action making plenty of headlines. For the first time since 1996, a Russian athlete's been pipped to the gold medal in rhythmic gymnastics, the highest award going to Israel, despite their athlete dropping the ribbon during her performance. And it caused a storm of controversy, with the head coach of Russia's rhythmic gymnastics team going so far as to suggest it was a deliberate provocation.
What do you share?
A blatant mistake, a deliberate injustice that had been premeditated. A serious error committed by an Israeli athlete in no way prevents her from winning gold. I've never in my life made a single protest in history, not at any Olympics or World Cup or any other competition. Now I've filed 3 protests. I'm against politics, but this was just awful, and it's hard to explain it in any other way. Perhaps these can be explained by the fact that Russia has been winning for 20 years and that it was important for someone to remove Russia from the winners list. It was done in the most disgusting way. I think we will turn to Thomas Bach, but given this kind of refereeing, such a sport may not exist in the Olympic family in the future.
The 2020 Tokyo Games have not been short on drama, that's for sure, and one of the biggest upsets has come on the penultimate day in the sport of rhythmic gymnastics. Now, heading into the final on Saturday, ROC athlete Dina Avelina was the heavy favourite to win. She has, after all, got 13 world titles under her belt. What's more, historically, Russians have absolutely dominated this sport, winning gold at the last 5 straight Olympics. But Tokyo 2020 has stopped that reign. Avelina has gone home with silver. And now there are questions being raised as to whether she was in fact robbed. So what's the drama here? Well, the thing is that the gymnast who beat her to gold is 22-year-old Israeli Lenoy Ashram. And during her ribbon routine, she dropped her ribbon. You can actually see in the video that although she keeps smiling like the performer that she absolutely is, she knows deep down that this is a fault that will most likely dash her chances at that gold medal. But no, apparently the judges decided otherwise, because despite that serious error, she went on to claim first place by a margin of 0.15 points, leaving Avelina, who had performed a totally clean performance without a single mistake, with second place. And by the way, making Ashram the only gymnast in the history of the Olympic Games to win a gold despite dropping a piece of her apparatus. And it's all of this combined that's led the ROC team to cry foul.
If you compare the scores that the Israeli athlete got in the preliminary round without that error, they were the same as what she got today with the error. And Dina Avelina, who performed her routine brilliantly and deserved a higher grade, got a lower one and lost. It was a disgrace to the judges that were assigned to Dina Avelina.
This isn't the first qualm the ROC team has had about fairness. It had earlier raised concerns about unfair scoring in previous performances. 2 protests had in fact been lodged. Both were rejected. And of course, the wider atmosphere has to be taken into account here. The Tokyo Games have not been the easiest ride for Russian athletes. They have seen open hostility and indeed skepticism at all the time that they have been there. They've seen the media around them for even daring to compete. They've had fellow sportsmen make pretty politicised jibes about doping. That's despite the fact that ROC athletes are one of the most heavily tested contingents at Tokyo. But certainly, in light of all of this, one has to hope that politics has not sealed Avelina's Olympic fate. But really, when you look at it with such a small point margin, with also such a serious error, people are certainly wondering whether the judges made the right call here.
Sports columnist Alan Moore says that a change to the rules has downgraded the importance of a perfect performance.
Back in 2016, what we have to understand is that the rhythmic gymnastics organization, they changed the way of scoring. So now rhythmic gymnastics, you get more points. There's no ceiling on points. So the more amazing, outrageous, outlandish moves you make, you get more points. Now, many people would say that it has been reduced to kind of like a circus. It is like kind of Cirque du Soleil, but in the Olympics. So the more difficulty you show and the tricks you perform, and I'm sorry to say tricks, but it's like the moves that you make, you get more points for it. That, even with a dropped object or with a dropped instrument, or it still means you can still get ahead of the other like clean athletes, like the ones who perform cleanly.